We moved here to plant Clear River Church in the summer of 2006. Over several months, the initial team began to form, and we ended up with 13 adults. I was 28 years old. I was the oldest person on the team, so really young adults who really felt like the Holy Spirit was calling us to be a part of this church that did not yet exist, but we believed that Jesus was building and wanted to plant. There was a great deal of sacrifice on everyone's part to actually participate in this. So there was a bit of just, I think, a right fear in our hearts, and that led us to really have to figure out how to trust God through all of this. The thing that kept us going through the whole process was a desire to see people come to faith in Jesus, have their lives transformed by Him, and be raised into authentic disciples. And so October 1st of 2006, we had our very first church service at Morton Community Center. I knew that we would at least have the 13 initial people who moved with us, and we ended up that first Sunday attracting 57 people. And I was just blown away that I was watching with my very eyes Jesus build His church. The first couple years of the church plant were really a blur in my mind in some ways. I was running so hard just to try to keep up with what was happening. But the whole time, the church kept growing. Well, we had outgrown our space at Morton Community Center and had begun looking for other options where we could do church. And we wanted to stay as close as we could to campus. And so I was driving around downtown Lafayette, and there was a big red for lease sign in what is now the main doorway of our main lobby. Over the past 5 years, we have seen fantastic growth at 3rd Street. We started off with somewhere around 250 or so people, and 5 years later we're around 800 people, and it boggles my mind. We don't advertise, we don't have any billboards around town. It's people coming, meeting Jesus, being transformed, and experiencing Him and His goodness and the goodness of community in the church, and then they invite their friends who have the same experience, and so on. And so it's been very organic growth that we've had through the years. I think it's our responsibility to steward what God has given to us. And for whatever reason, God has chosen to bless Clear River Church with people. We've been multiplying services as much as we can. We've just realized that there's a limit to how many services you can have. And when we found out that the property just to the north of our current facility was for sale, we immediately loved the possibility of it. We want to have a lot of students at Clear River. We're like a minute away from campus. We want to have a multi-ethnic church. And we love the idea of being in the middle of a very diverse area. You know, it feels like it fits us, it suits us to be downtown. So our overseers have agreed that the next step that God is leading Clear River into is the building of a new facility. We want to build a new facility that would include a new lobby space, auditorium and kids space. The lobby space would be comfortable and attractive. We'd have a cafe area, comfortable seating so you can come and grab a cup of coffee and connect with friends before or after services. For the auditorium, our goal is to have a 700-seat auditorium, which will be more than double the size that we currently have right now. We want it to have an intimate feeling so people can still feel like they're not in just some massive room, but that they're still connected with the speaker and with one another. We want to build kids space for about 120 to 130 kids. We want that to be a fun and safe environment for them, where they can continue to learn about Jesus in a way that's relevant to them. And then the project would include remodeling one of the existing facilities on the 3 acres. And that's where we would end up putting administrative offices. That's where we would move our food pantry, and we would also have an awesome space for our middle schoolers and our youth group where they can do their Sunday morning and their weekly meetings and connect with one another. We don't want to build anything that is very fancy or gaudy. We want something that's simple and functional that works for us. The building is not what it's about. It's about the building will keep the rain off of our heads when we are making disciples. We are doing something that is impossible. It's not just that we have to try really hard and dig really deep and work really hard, and then we're going to accomplish this on our own strength. I think that would be a mistake to think that. You've got to understand this clearly, that Jesus builds his church. Tony doesn't build his church. The people of Clear River Church don't build his church. Jesus builds his church. And so when it all comes down to it, we have to trust God like crazy through this process. We have to be men and women of prayer. We have to learn how to rely on him. We have to learn how to trust in him, because he is the one who's doing this. And that's fun, and it's really safe to be a part of what God is doing, because we know that he wins. We know that he's going to fulfill his promises, and he's going to do what he said he's going to do, that he will build his church. Christ alone.